Hello. Hi. How's everyone doing? It is Tuesday, and I'm looking for my friend Sarah this time. Live and connected. Get to talk with the Sarahs today. Sarah with an H, Sarah without an H. Hi,
Hello.
Sarah.
So good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you as well. Would you like to start by telling me a little bit about where you're at? And I think you have a circle starting soon as well, too, right?
Yes, I'm in California, the Bay Area, and I'm starting a circle. This will be our inaugural circle up here.
Oh, wow. How exciting.
Yeah, how about you?
Yeah. I think your audio cut out for for just a moment, maybe when you're
Okay.
putting your headphones on. Will you tell me again what you just said? Like, I caught it was your inaugural circle
Oh,
and you're at the Bay Area, but something in between there was missing.
no problem. Yeah, so I'm in Northern California in Alameda, which is in the Bay Area, and starting circle on Thursday, September 19th.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah. Are you doing an in-person circle or a virtual circle?
in person.
Nice.
And yeah, this
That's great.
will be the inaugural one for Alameda.
Oh, how lovely. How lovely. Yes, I am starting two circles at the same time. I have a virtual circle and an in-person circle. One starts on Thursday, September 5th, which is I sort of set it up with this way. That's my mother's birthday. So it just seemed fitting to kind of like start then. So that'll be the virtual circle, and then the in-person circle will be on Sunday afternoon.
So yours is starting this week, just a couple
Yeah.
days.
Right.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd love to hear from you, because as we've both gone through this coursework together, and then we went through the facilitator training together. Tell me a little bit about what was kind of your most memorable moment in Mother Circle.
I was just thinking today about how much the Mother Cycles material has really stuck with me, and that I wish I had had it earlier on in my mothering journey. So it's impacted me a lot at this stage, and I can only imagine how much richer it would be if I had found it 13 years ago when I had my first child. But I'm glad to have it now. But that idea that we're cyclical beings, all of us are, and then especially as women. And so we go through these phases of our life, we go through these phases of our hormonal cycles. And that if we can be in touch with what cycle we're in and live in accordance with that moment of that cycle, we have so much more peace and energy. So I think about how much I tried to do when I was a new mom, right? For the first time, of like thinking I had to be out there and going to all these activities and doing things. And I wish I had found Kimberly and Johnson's work earlier and known that, like, if I just settled into that phase of the cycle of like, this is a quiet moment, this is a recovery moment, this is a nurturing moment, and I will have energy then in the future to go out and do more. I found that later, and I had my third pregnancy and birth much more in alignment with that. And so I feel like that's one of the things that's really stuck with me. And now I can look at people on Instagram who are out there doing all this thing and being like, oh, they don't have young children. They're doing those things because they don't have young children right now, or their children are out of the house, and not being comparing myself in one cycle to someone else in a different point in the cycle.
Absolutely. I relate with that so much. So much. It's also reminding me of the five universal postpartum and how like there's always the opportunity for repair, because I totally track with that. In I didn't have a lot of this understanding whenever I first started having children. Even my youngest baby is 2.5, and
Mine's 3, so we're similar in
yeah,
age there.
and I still don't feel like I got like the postpartum I had always dreamed of, but I feel like there's still so much opportunity to repair that. I felt really hopeful. It wasn't this like, oh wow, I missed out on all these postpartum things because I just didn't know. I felt like, wow, I didn't get everything that I probably should have, and here's the opportunity to write that, you know. Um, and
Yes.
in one of my first circles, my what would be like, I like to call her my mother in love. She was in the circle with me, and she had a moment where she was like, I didn't get these things. I didn't make sure my daughter got these things. I didn't make sure you got these things. And like this kind of almost guilt or shame about it. And
Hmm.
it was such a beautiful opportunity for me to be like, no, like, please don't take this on as first your sole responsibility, right? It's not your sole responsibility to provide these things for anyone, but also we didn't know any better. We didn't know because we weren't given that wisdom in this culture, in this, passing down of wisdom. We know, we get like little glimpses of it, right? Like we get some time off work, not enough. But we get glimpses of what works. We know that like bringing food is always a really good generous offer. But we forget about like being in nature, and we forget about the presence of wise women. um, Whenever I had my first son, who's 10, my mother was still alive at the time. She's passed at this point, but her and her two sisters came over to my house when the baby was maybe like a week or two old. And we were sitting around, and this presence of these women who've done this before, who've been here, I will always look back on this memory with such reverence, because I'm trying to figure out like, how do you burp this baby? How do you like, he's not really pooping very well, like, and they're all kind of inputting their information in their experience. And it was just really this moment of like, this is this is what I've always dreamed of, like babies bringing people together. How beautiful.
So
Um,
beautiful.
and I think that there's this kind of notion in our culture of like, well, I don't get along with my aunts, or I don't get along with my sisters or my mom or whatever. And it doesn't always have to be those people, but like, who can you surround yourself with that provides that safety and security, that like I can ask for help. I can ask for, I don't know how to do this. And I'm also a postpartum doula, and so I'm kind of always talking about this stuff. And I feel like then the question is, who do you feel safe with, and who can just come and sit with you?
Hmm.
You don't have to be um, having these like deep, intricate conversations or something that's productive or anything. It's just who can you be surrounded with during this time? It really speaks to that piece that mothers shouldn't be alone. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I really loved what you said about it's not lost if you didn't have it your in your first birth or in any of your births, right? And that's one of the things I love the most about Mother Circle, is that it's this multi-faceted circle for women of all phases of and all parts of the cycle, right? Because say you've already had your kids and you're like, oh man, I feel so much sadness that I didn't have that at the time. The container of Mother Circle itself provides that council of wise women, right? And that it's never too late to bring your experience in and have women sit with you in it. um and also it lets you know that like there are multiple opportunities to revisit these moments, right? Like every time you have a menstrual cycle and you can go to nature, you can go get wise touch, right? Like all of these things, get body work done. Um, as you go into your next phase of life, like perimenopause, right? That's where I am now. And I'm like, okay, how do I honor this at this moment in my life that will heal things from earlier on as well? So there's so many ways to weave all this in, no matter where you are, and to have that sharing back and forth, the giving and the receiving among all these women, whether they're grandmothers or thinking about having babies, right? That we all have so much to offer each
Mm-hmm.
other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I discuss a little bit because I did a preview for Mother Circle the other day, and I got to talking about the like story of Inanna and the like going into the underworld and then coming up to the overworld with the gifts that we bring back to our community. And I feel like I understand that really on like a bone level, but I'm
Yes.
wondering what your thoughts are on that, where like what is in this world of like I can figure it all out on my own, right? What are the gifts that you see of sitting with someone who's older or younger or in a different life stage to kind of reiterate that the gifts that we bring back from our underworld journeys, whatever they may be, whether it's postpartum or whatever, um, how does that kind of translate in your mind to bringing the gifts back to the community?
Yeah, the myth of Inanna is so rich, and you can take every time you revisit it, you can find something new in it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so as you were just talking now, the thought came to me of like a big part of my motherhood journey has been learning to accept help, right? To learning that to not feel guilt,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going to depend on others, that I'm going to ask for support, that I'm going to ask for help, and that I'm not going to do it all by myself, right? I had this big idea that like I had to be the full parent, the full mother to my kids, and I shouldn't depend on anyone else. So much of my going down into the underworld and coming back up was my own belief, right? At a core level, I can accept help and I'm still of value. I'm still a good mother. And so now here I am, like part of my gifts now from my journey is to be able to offer this group, to be able to hold this space, to be here in my community and see the need for this
Mm-hmm.
and want to give it, um, and help other moms know how good it feels to be able to receive,
Mm-hmm.
how good it feels to not have to go it on your
Mm-hmm.
own, but also that I really understand how hard it is to come out the other
Yeah.
side
Yeah.
of that belief system.
Right, right. It's truly a work of going against the grain, right? Because in this world, we do tend to really that hyper individualist. We can figure it out all by ourselves, and we don't need any help. And I understand why that can be. I guess I can understand why that can be good, but I don't really think that speaks to our physiology. It doesn't speak to our animal body of needing to be in group with one another. And whenever I think about it that way, that like we are meant to lean on each other
Mm-hmm.
for our survival, that really allows me to accept help a lot easier. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's also allows me to give help a lot easier too. Even whenever, I'm in the throes of child rearing right now, and it's hard to give to the people I know who need help because I'm kind of in it. I'm in a different underworld journey, right? And I know that it's only setting me up for more, being able to help more whenever this life stage transitions a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be so challenging, but so rich to be able to learn that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think to your point about the cycles, living like within a cyclical